Panda Watch, emergency pod. Hey, Mike.
Hey Dave.
I don't know if Panda Watch will reach all 14 participants, but somebody hit me with that the other day, and I was like, oh, it's still relevant. That's good. Um, well, we're only tomorrow would be 2 weeks out from the draft, and time's a ticking. So we have to make sure we do what we need to for these newcomers. So I called an emergency pod. Thanks for all the response in the group chat. Nobody cares. Um, which makes me think I can just unilaterally make a move. But I've been hitting the streets. I've been calling the peeps. I got phone calls out to Paul and Tom, our most boisterous of the crew, to run to run what we will talk about by them to make sure they are okay with it before putting it into the group and mass chaos ensues. So that's the point of that initial call. We still haven't had Brian join the group chat. I sent him the link, and so did Dan. His brother joined. So we have 13 in the chat. Sans Brian, the newcomer. So I might have to lean on Dan to get him in there just so I don't have to say everything 7 times. But
Yeah.
so let's get right into it, because in years past we've had the keeper set a week prior to draft day, right?
Yep.
And that's what we were going to do again, but now we've been turned on our head a little with the 14. So what I'm proposing, and I talked about this actually with Patrick first, and he was the one that kind of came up with this idea. I'm worried about giving the first 9 picks to the new 3. That's unfair to people in the league already, I think. And we've talked about this, Mike, if I say everything again, I'm sorry, but I think that's unfair. So what I'm proposing is I'll open it up tomorrow or even today. We can just start everyone that's in the league, go ahead and pick their keepers up to 3, same thing as we've done. And then you pick up to 3, you don't have to keep any. But what I'm proposing might change your strategy if you were planning on not keeping any. So if you don't keep any, you go into the draft just normal. What I want is the newcomers to then, after we set our keepers, the original 11, whether you want them or not, then the new 3 get to pick one keeper from the pool that aren't chosen by us, except for Soto and Cole, because that would be unfair to the crew.
They're not eligible. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, we can't let the newcomers just come poach them when we've technically been holding on to them.
Be free agents. They're free agents in our league.
Yes, we've been waiting. I mean, I've had Cole 3 years. Paul's had Tom. Paul has not had Tom. Paul has had Juan Soto for.
We
Paul.
don't know that.
It's true. We don't know that.
Know that for sure.
So Soto and Cole.
Good idea. I'm cool with that. Because I was basically going to bring up, like, essentially to treat it like an expansion draft, and that would be us doing keepers as you protecting a player from the new teams. So
Okay.
yeah,
Is one not nice enough? Should we give 2, or is 1 good enough?
I think one's good because then it becomes which one of them gets to pick first.
And my guess is I'll just randomize them out of a hat.
But I like that idea because then they get a pretty good shot at somebody they really want. And we could even still do like what we were talking about last week, where they have the first 3 picks of the first 3 rounds or something like that, rather than the first 9 picks overall.
Yeah. What I'm like, once they get that pick, maybe it's even just a text to me. Once they see the pool, they get like 3 or 4 days to look. Text me who they want. I don't know. I have to figure that out because I'll randomize it. That's why I need everyone in the chat, so I can just say, here's the picks. And then they each pick one, not Cole or Soto. I can manipulate it and actually assign those players to their teams.
Yeah, and then maybe they don't want to keep anybody, so then they can pick Soto or Cole first.
That's good. That's good. That's why we do this. You're good. You're
Because
good,
then
dude.
I'm like, cool, I get somebody. It's like, oh, but I definitely don't get either one of them.
Yeah, that's a chance technically. Like, say you don't keep any, say you don't pick one, and then the draft order puts you like 13th. You're definitely not going to get Cole or Soto unless everyone else keeps, right? I guess so. It's a strategy here in a way. Even for the people that have been in the league, it's a little bit of strategy now. Like, if you weren't going to keep anybody, do you really want one of them to potentially get one of the guys you may have kept? That's kind of, you have to think about it.
The risk you're taking, regardless, not keeping somebody, but now you might not get a chance to that person before the draft even starts.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to think hard about if I'm keeping anybody or not.
I think it's Adley, but don't tell us.
I'm not keep. I can't justify keeping a catcher. I can't
Oh,
wait for a pick on a catcher.
I
As
love,
I'd love to keep him,
I love the catcher hate.
but
Hate, hate, hate.
there was a catcher to do it for. It will be him, but
It's true. Is there a better catcher?
I think he's kind of in his own tier
Yeah, because
right now.
Real Muto wasn't hitting last year. I mean, he was fine. He wasn't. Sean Murphy was good, but then he fell off. Trying to
Yeah,
think
because
of
it's between Devers and Simeon, obviously. Um,
Devers is good
I,
fantasy.
I needed. I mean, if I did lose it, I doubt both. I bet both of them are going to be gone by the new guys. I don't think those would be the two that they'd keep if they have a shot at Soto and Cole.
Hmm. We have so what I'm gonna do, and I think it's been received well. I mean, Tom said whatever. He's like, no matter what you say, I'm gonna keep up the character in the group chat though. But he was all in.
There has to be balance.
He was good. Paul was good. I think it'll be fine. It's an olive branch to the new three here.
Like even if you're hesitant to it, like when the draft's over, it's not. You're not gonna. It's gonna be forgotten. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a crapshoot. Draft doesn't really dictate, or keepers don't dictate winners. Although I was looking at this a little. I kept three. Basically, I keep three all the time.
Hmm.
So does Paul. And then Paul won last year. Lost. I lost in the championship the last 2 years. So I don't know. As a keeper, I was thinking about it. As a keepers, does it help you get there? Is that the direct link, or is it just? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
I
so.
think, and baseball in general, the draft is like so many things have to go right throughout the year, whether you have a good draft or not. So
Yeah, injuries are killer,
yeah,
which you're seeing. I mean, I'm glad we
it's
postponed.
what is it? You can't win the league in the draft, but you can lose the league in the draft.
That's true. That's a good. I like that. Look at us philosophizing.
I didn't invent that. I didn't come up with that, but I'm using it.
We'll sign Michael Scott after it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just run down what I'm gonna do then. I'm gonna go ahead and message the group and say we're gonna set keepers now. Go ahead and set your keepers. I'm not gonna give them a whole week. I'm gonna say you have basically till Tuesday or Wednesday to set them.
Yeah, give until what is Pi Day?
Nice, yeah, not 311 day.
No, no, no.
Too much 311.
No big decisions on that day.
Um, so yeah, Pi Day, that's good. 314. And then maybe I'll start, right then, maybe the next day, that weekend, we'll go through and get the newcomers their picks. And then by St. Patty's Day, we'll know. And that's when I'll let the draft order go. I'll do the draft order Sunday, the 17th. And that's when Cole and Soto will be available in the draft. They're not going to be available to these newcomers. And they can still get them, but they will have them the opportunity in the draft. Um, just a note, I can't pick Cole if he's available, and Paul can't pick Soto if he's available. That's the
Okay, interesting.
um just so we don't get him right back. Got him. Uh and then the draft is next 2 Sundays, the 24th. So we'll have the randomized 14 of us draft order. So that's where you'll see, oh, now if I got the, it kind of hurts you though. If you, like you, I know I'm
Yeah,
keeping at least two. If you don't keep any, you're taking a chance. You could have that first pick and get Soto or Cole right there. But you also could get like the 13th or 14th pick, and other people that don't keep could go ahead of you. So it's a chance there.
and then I just take Rafael Devers or Marcus Simeon anyway. Like
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay. That sounds clean enough. We're helping them without disadvantaging our
yeah,
crew.
we want to make it not like easy for them, but enjoyable at least joining the league. We don't want to make it feel like we're all against them to start.
Yeah, I think it shows the effort too. We're trying here. It is a tight-knit group.
It's a big ask to come in a league that's been around for a long time.
Hmm.
That has a
We
bunch of rules that probably a lot of leagues might not have.
I got to make sure that I got to do those roster adjustments too. I just got to write all this down. Just take a minute and do it.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well that's good. I'm glad you're open to that. That's cool. Any other business? Anything happening in the leagues? I saw Acuna's back.
I have a couple like notes. Just Blake Snell still a free agent. Jordan Montgomery still a free agent. Lars Newbar has 2 rib fractures, so he's
Who?
out.
Who?
Lars Newbar,
Oh, yeah.
he's 10 to 14 days question mark. So that's at minimum, I guess. Garrett Crochet, I randomly caught an inning of him. He's had 3 straight strikeouts looking. It was Trout, Rendon, and Taylor Ward. He looked pretty
Wow.
good.
What team's
Um,
he on?
he's on the White Sox.
Thought so.
Mookie Betts, permanent for now at shortstop.
Saw that this
Whatever,
morning.
whatever permanent for now. That's what that means. So that's big news for any Gavin Lux fans out there.
His parents.
Yeah, and the Mets are 4 games back from the Orioles in the Grapefruit League, tied with Atlanta right now.
Oh,
The Orioles are 12-2 in the Grapefruit League, and I think
wow.
they're beating Atlanta today.
Haven't lost since Lute visited the ballpark. I don't know. That's good stuff. Garrett Crochet. We're gonna have to look at pictures like that.
Well, I wanted to for the pod. Whatever our next pod is, you have to bring like 5 names that you hadn't thought about all off season until you heard them for the first time, and then you're like, oh yeah, that guy.
I forgot about him.
There's so many. Like as I'm watching the spring training games.
What JD Martinez still out there? What I'm seeing, I think we touched on this with Adam last time, was just like all these guys that are signing and haven't signed were offered huge deals and they turned them down. And now they're having to take a pay cut essentially just to prove a year again. I don't know. I don't know whose side I'm on.
And I think some of them might just hold it's baseball because it is such a long season. They might just hold out and see how some of these teams start to shake out and then pick where they're going to go.
But what I'm seeing is a lot of teams are just like, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're good with our roster, what we got. We're not going to go all in. Snell, if he went to the Yankees, he's a $90 million on their payroll this year. It's just crazy. Like, he's not worth that.
Well, that's the thing is you start to look at the players and you're like, what kind of return do I have to get on this guy for that money to be even like feasible? Like, and
Mhm.
there's just so many teams that have contracts that they're just like they're not getting a fraction of the production out of that
No,
they need that money.
no, there's been some bad deals. So people are afraid of, I mean, owners are afraid. All this, I watched a YouTube video that really broke it down well about what's happening with regional sports networks, and how it hurts teams. I had never, all the blackouts, that was a minor part of it. I'm not going to try and get into it because it was, one, boring, but also informative. But like the Texas Rangers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Braves are in that pool, but on a lower end. But there's people like Bally Sports went bankrupt. So now,
That was quick.
crazy, they bought out Fox Sports South or some Fox Sports. Fox had it, I think. Fox had the regional, and they promised like they went all in. There was just they went overboard too much on how much money they thought would come back, and then they had to declare bankruptcy. So like now the teams were thinking they were going to get so much money from their viewership, and that's not even happening now. So these teams thought they were making revenue. They don't have it. So now they're like, well, we can't pay players then. But
Yeah, that's like I was talking to somebody the other day about that, how they're complaining how long the baseball season is. Like it's never going to get shorter because, and if it does get shorter, how expensive are the tickets going to have to be for them to make up the difference in the games?
yeah,
Because owners are not going to lose out on 40 games or 20 home games. Like,
no, that's all. I mean, as much as like say Pittsburgh Pirates, they're not filling the seats.
mhm,
They still get money through people coming to the stadium, buying merch. If you look at I mean, the merch in stadiums is absolutely outrageous. Beer
insane.
has gone up, food is ridiculous. So they do make money even if they have a small attendance.
Mhm.
But that's where like teams like Boston, Philly, Atlanta now. I don't know if the Mets sell out every game. Yankees, like they make money. They're making so much money. It actually doesn't matter what the regional. I don't even think Atlanta should be in that running for that. You know, they're mentioned in that pool of teams that are affected. But they, since they built the battery, have been making a lot of money off just people spending money outside of the stadium coming in, which is a new. I think that's what the A's are trying to do now in Las Vegas is create like a city outside of the stadium.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh already they built the stadium and it kind of fell into that way. I was in Cincinnati and saw that's how the Reds are. That seems to be the new business model for stadium building.
Yeah. That's like your hub
Yeah,
stadium, and then you put stuff around it.
but like teams like Philly don't. I mean, they're spending out their ass for players because they can. They sell out every game. Like
Yeah.
Phillies has a lot of support. Um, Boston too. It's just crazy. Chicago Cubs. I don't think the White Sox do half. That's what it was. The owner of the White Sox, who was the owner or is the owner of the Bulls and was when Michael was there, um, Jerry Reinsdorf, if
Yeah.
that's he was saying how he wants to move the team or build a new stadium, but charge the Chicago
Mm.
population to create that hub, the bars, hotels all around the stadium, and they're all like, we don't want to pay for that. Like, the Chicago,
Still live here. Like,
yeah. But he's like threatening, well, if you don't do this, we might move the team to one of the expansion teams. And you're like, well, you can't threaten a fan base like that. It's crazy.
yeah, you're literally holding them hostage. Like,
Yeah, okay, we just won't root for the White Sox anymore. You know, and it's like, and it's tough in a city like Chicago.
that would make me want to be a Cubs fan pretty quick, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Cubs are like, come on.
But and the Cubs have the similar thing to the Yankees, that I think the franchise itself is so profitable that like even take the games out of it, just in the merch and all that, like the Yankees especially.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
Yankees. They're like, I saw a little graphic that showed where like it was like 10 years ago, and it did like a chart of America and the teams that were how far they reached
mhm.
into different markets. Braves had a lot because of TBS. Yankees was crazy with the Yes Network, but it wasn't as crazy as I thought. I thought the Yes Network, but they do have I guess if you're in California, you can still get the Yes Network, but you have to pay for it. But that's a segue into something. I did have something I found on Reddit, and
New
it's
York was New York wasn't blue and orange. Weird.
it was, yeah. Um, hey, want to say hi?
Hey,
Tell everyone your favorite player is Max Muncy. Yeah, exactly. Adam, remember Adam? like commented at. He was like, "No,
Yeah.
Adam, that was the wrong." But Tom was like, "Yeah, no way your son's favorite player is Max Muncy." I was like, "We don't talk about Max Muncy."
You were trying to think of a player.
Yeah, and I couldn't pick it, couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I was looking at 2024 MLB national TV games by team, and the Yankees are number one with 15 total national games. It's spread throughout ESPN, Fox, FS1, and TBS.
Okay.
Braves are tied for second with the Cubs and Dodgers at 14. Houston's at 11. Texas Rangers at 11. Maybe that's just because they won the World Series. They get a little love.
I was wondering what the Diamondbacks and Rangers, what kind of bump they would get.
Rangers are up. Phillies 10. Cardinals 10. Baltimore 9, but 0 games on ESPN for Baltimore, which is like Baltimore won. They were the number one seed.
That's they
Um,
only show Yankees Red Sox games on ESPN.
Harrison has a friend coming over, and they're excited. Boys' Day.
Sweet.
Um, hey Sterling, my sister's not here, so Boys' Day. Um, and then we have. I just want to get to the Mets. They're at 9. They have one ESPN game, but Arizona 8. Arizona has 8 games, none on ESPN, 7 on FS1. So 7 out of 8 on FS1. But let me get to the bottom of the bat. I want to get to the bottom here. 3 teams do not have any nationally televised games. Can you name them?
They have 0.
0.
Pittsburgh Pirates,
They have 1.
Detroit Tigers.
They have 4. I won't do this the whole time. I just want to see if you can get.
Um,
It's actually a surprising one in there.
Nationals.
They have 0.
I see. I figured they'd at least have one against those other teams that have them. You know,
Right, like or Baltimore and Washington would be a good one.
Oakland.
Oakland has 0. There's one more team, and it's Toronto. They have 0.
Wow,
That's crazy because
they
they
have
have
a
all
lot
those
of
stars.
good players too. Like, and
Even
you'd figure,
Colorado Rockies.
and like that's the same thing. You'd assume they'd have at least one of those games against the Yankees, or
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like Blue Jays inner division. So that's interesting. I saw that was like the Royals have 3, Rockies have 1, White Sox have 6. Like these are teams that how does Toronto not have more than them?
yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was a interesting. How do they pick them?
But like also, that's so few nationally televised games for a sport that has so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's crazy.
So I guess like most of them are Saturday, right? Like Fox does Saturday, TBS.
Yeah, and that's why like the Braves were so popular when we were kids because every Saturday afternoon on TBS it was the Braves, pretty
Right.
much.
Well, they
Yeah.
were weekdays because it was just owned. They had yeah. That's why I fell in love with the Braves. It was them or the Phillies. So clear, clear pick. We don't need Harry Callis back caught by the shortstop. I always get mad at that. Um. Okay. So any other things to discuss on your mind?
No, I got nothing. I'm
You
ready
like
for a new.
that timing though, right? If I roll out that timing of keepers,
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. It there's no negative to selecting keepers earlier.
yeah, I think Paul even said he likes to know it's good strategy, and then he can do mock drafts and figure out where these people that are in the pool land.
Yeah, once we know how we're doing the order of everything too, then you could try to figure out how you want to go about it.
You think a week is a good enough time to know the draft order? Oh, actually, we didn't know. Oh, we did. Yeah, I mean my kids' pick. I was thinking, yeah, a week is long enough. Okay.
Maybe just do we could even just do a like if you're picking out of a hat, just have a hat with their 3 names. Do that, and then they can, or you'll probably have to do that before that way that figures out which one of them gets first dibs on one of the.
Yeah, I will. So There'll be a lot of me picking out of a hat. We'll get tired of that real quick. We'll have Jared texting, just tell me the picks.
I sense it. Yeah.
Um, cool. Well, thanks. I know it was kind of a random let's get together, but I felt it'd be better to talk it out and at least put it out there if people want to watch.
Yeah, and if you want to catch up on last week's episode, guys, it's still out there.
It's
Yeah.
still out there, and that's where we did discuss. I was telling Tom about what you brought up. Oh no,
Yeah.
Paul. And Paul was like, "Oh yeah, that's what I do with some of my leagues." So it's not. And I told him I was staring at the screen, trying my best to figure it out. And I was like, "Why won't you know?" And sometimes there's a mental block, and you're like, "Get there. Why are you not getting
Yeah. Does not
there?"
compute.
We had 15 views on our first one, 4 on number 2. So we're gonna hopefully find a happy medium in this one. I'll just write emergency pod must watch.
Yeah, it needs to be start doing like clickbait thumbnails.
Yeah,
Oh, like pretend I'm choking or something, you know.
yeah. Taylor Swift on the pod.
Yeah,
Oh man, it's windy here, man. Is it weather? What's the weather like up there or down there? You're down.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a
Like
windstorm.
85 and sunny. I'm
Oh,
gonna go to
cool.
the after.
No, we're not watching. You guys play. You got a lot of stuff out. Dad talk. All right. Well, thanks, Mike, and I will see you in the group chat.
Yeah, Oscars tomorrow night, guys. Don't forget to watch.
What's up for best picture, real quick? Do you have there's a couple, don't say all 10. I know there.
Well, the front runner is Oppenheimer. That seems to be the people think that's going to be the consensus. Christopher Nolan will finally get his best picture.
He never has.
No.
His resume is quite the.
Yeah. Well, he's the reason that they have 10 nominees now for best picture was because the year The Dark Knight came out, it wasn't nominated because they could only nominate so many movies. So after that
Oh,
year, they expanded it to 10 movies.
do you
So
know the stats? Hold on, not while I'm on the call. Do you know the stats? Since the expansion, has a winner come from the expansion? Like, or there's no way to know, right? There's no way to know who the.
it was just that way they could include more like blockbuster and foreign. So I mean, like you could say maybe Parasite was like that could have been a product of that, but that movie probably would have won that year no matter what.
I haven't seen it. Worth it?
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
Parasite. That's like out of the best picture winners the last few years, that's probably my favorite one.
Okay.
But it's like phones down because it's in Korean, so you have to read subtitles. So
Oh, well,
yeah.
that's what was that Aztec movie? Well, let me go. It's the mom. I'll talk to you later.
Later.